Welcome to another episode on our channel. This time we're talking about Kurt Russell versus the movie that this represents, which is the Hateful Eight, a movie by Quentin Tarantino. And apparently it's a suspenseful and kind of somewhat dark film. I haven't seen it, so I can't give you many details about it, except that he portrays John, the hangman, Ruth. And he's responsible to he's like a bounty hunter. So he's after a reward for bringing in a female to be hanged. So it's a dark movie, adventure, suspense, that sort of thing. I haven't seen it again. I would definitely like to see it as soon as I possibly can so I can, see how this works out. But he had a tremendous look in the movie, and I thought, okay, let me try to recreate him. And I think it turned out fairly well. Not perfect, but fairly well. But just as promised, I promised to talk to you a little bit about Kurt Russell. What I know about him is his father was a minor league baseball owner. He was also an actor. Had a reoccurring role in Bonanza as a deputy marshal, from what I understand, probably other roles that were significant, but that's the one that stuck out in my mind. His mother, a dancer, three sisters, take it back. So 4 kids all together. He really wanted to be a professional baseball player and was actually moving in that direction, suffered some sort of shoulder injury that put him out of the process, the ability to pursue that goal of becoming a professional baseball player. And thank goodness he had debated at one time as to whether it would be baseball or acting. So since this shut off the possibility for a baseball career, he went into acting. His first role was actually in a film with Elvis Presley back in 1963. It happened at the World Fair. I think it happened at the World's Fair. And he was a child at the time, had a very minor role, just for a few seconds in that particular movie. Ironically, later in life, he would perform in a movie called Elvis. This is where he met his one and only, the one relationship that led to a marriage. And that was with the female who played Priscilla in the movie. Of course, he was Elvis, she was Priscilla, and her name was Season, which is an interesting name, Season, like seasons of the year, Season Hubley. They ended up having one son who they named Boston. Interesting name, too. Later, they would divorce, and he would get involved with Goldie Hawn, and they would have I guess it's still intact, very much intact, but 40 years in terms of relationship, never having married. And I think there's a thing in their heads that would probably jinx things, because I think one time Goldie Hawn said we probably would have been divorced by now if we had gotten married. So it's a relationship built on trust, apparently. Goldie Hawn brought 2 children into that relationship through a relationship with Bill Hudson. So Oliver and Kate Hudson, they parented. And of course, Kate Hudson, famous actor or actress herself. And then Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn have a son that they named Wyatt, of all names. It doesn't sound familiar at all, does it? Like Wyatt Earp, right? But he's been in a ton of movies. Big Trouble in Little China, Escape from New York, Escape from LA, Backdraft, Stargate, of course, Tombstone. I mean, just, you could just go on and list movies, but those are some of the ones that come to my mind. he was actually for one of two roles in Star Wars, either Luke Skywalker or Han Solo, but it was taking too long with that decision-making process, and so he opted to take another movie role instead. But still doesn't diminish what he's done in terms of the acting role. But it might have been interesting if he had waited to take a role in Star Wars. But having said that, at the time he said he had to get back to work. And so he took the role from a movie called Quest. So anyway, this is the Hateful Eight. The only other interesting thing I can think of, actually 2 points, and I mentioned one of them before, but the one I didn't mention is he's a libertarian. So that's a political, not necessarily a faith system, but as a libertarian, he believes in kind of a split ideologies, I guess. Maybe not split. Maybe we all share these things, but traditionally social advocacy has been on the Democratic side, and traditionally fiscal conservatism has been on the Republican side. So he believes in those two values and small government. So anyway, that's interesting. I didn't know that about libertarians. The other thing is that in Tombstone, I think I mentioned this before, and I didn't mention all the things related to this issue, but the first director was fired. I think he got overwhelmed and got behind on shooting schedules and all that sort of thing. And then a person by the name of George Cosmatos was hired to direct, but they had an understanding. It was actually Kurt Russell who kind of kept the film going. He took over some of the leadership elements because there was a risk that it wouldn't be made. And thank goodness it did make it to a release. And it, as I said before, it's one of my absolute favorite Westerns. So we'll pause now and look at this one, this character from his feet all the way up to his head. We'll be right back. We are back, and if you look on eBay right now, you'll see that this particular figure of Kurt Russell and the Hateful Eight, the lowest price I saw on him is $649. And then I saw a couple other figures for $845. And there's no way I would pay that much for a figure, a Wednesday scale figure. So this is completely customized. So starting out with just dark boot-like shoes, black pair of pants, the hat. I'll tell you how I made that. We'll go up though. So the pants are fairly form-fitting. He has a holster rig that I made, a gun that my husband made that I painted. He's got a black vest. He's got a pocket watch, a black coat or jacket, white shirt, and of course this fur coat that I got from China before the tariffs were in place, which was very inexpensive. It was white, more white-like than brown, and I soaked it in hot tea and got it a bit more brown. I would like to get it a lot more brown to be closer to the movie, what it looks like in the movie. But I did my best with what I had. The rifle isn't a match with the rifle in the film, but it was, to me, it looked close enough. The head sculpt, unbranded, again from China. Got it a long time ago, so I had that head laying around for the express purpose of making this character. And eventually I finally was able to get the pieces I needed. Again, before the tariffs hit and didn't kill me in terms of cost. So the hat that you saw earlier is actually, it was the part of the coat that goes around his neck. I just cut that piece off, the collar, and made a hat out of it. So kind of killed two birds with one stone, so to speak. So anyway, here is Kurt Russell from the Hateful Eight. And we'll pause now and do some side-to-side shots with him. So we are back, and here he is with his hat on. Just keep in mind that I actually there was a collar on the coat. I just cut that off and made the hat. So it'd be matching, me and matching. I know the hat should be gray. I know the coat should be darker. But sometimes you just do what you can. I pretty much knew I couldn't use fabric paint on this coat because it's made out of a fur-like substance. It's not actual fur, but fur-like, and you can't really do anything with that. So I used dark tea. If I can soak it in dark tea a number of times and get a darker and darker look every single time, I'll be a happy camper. But if it stays this way and only this way, then I'm a happy camper as well. It's close enough for me anyway. I am not going to pay $649 or $845 for this figure. I would like to make Samuel Jackson's character in the Hateful Eight, but that is just as costly as is the female character. I'm trying to remember. Is it Vivian Leigh? I think it is, but when we come back, I'll correct myself if I was wrong on that. But anyway, here he is. We'll go side to side so you can see him. Push that hat down a little bit. All right. All right. So we'll pause now and get a close-up of his head sculpt. We'll be right back. We are back, and this is a fantastic unbranded head. I'm just so glad I got it some time ago with like I said, the express purpose of making this character. It was hard to find a coat. I just knew though that I couldn't spend hundreds of dollars to get this figure. And like I said, right now on eBay, I see one listed at $645, and another one at over $800. That's insane. So anyway, the person who played the female in this movie, Hateful Eight, is Jennifer Jason Leigh, not Vivian Leigh. I just got Vivian in my head for some reason. She, of course, portrayed, she was in the movie Gone with the Wind, but it was Jennifer Jason Leigh who was in this particular movie. The other interesting thing I didn't share with you is what happened on the set when they were filming this movie. They apparently had borrowed an 1870-ish Martin guitar from Martin Guitar Museum for filming, and they had several replicas of that guitar. There's going to be a point in the movie where that guitar was to be smashed by Kurt Russell, and there was supposed to be kind of like a cut. The guitar was supposed to be replaced, and I don't know what was happening. Some people suspect that maybe this was done intentionally, but I have no idea what happened. But supposedly someone was supposed to yell cut. The real guitar was supposed to be replaced with a replica guitar and then destroyed by Kurt Russell. That didn't happen. The real guitar got destroyed. Vivian knew it was a real guitar. Kurt Russell did not know it was a real guitar. He felt awful. She felt awful. So her reaction captured on the screen was very genuine. She was going, no, wait, something to that effect. And the guitar was destroyed. And then that that organization said they're never going to loan out anything to another movie again. But their insurance covered for the guitar, but they said it was priceless. On the other hand, now it's kind of put back together somewhat, but it has taken on a life of its own as being a guitar that was destroyed in a movie. So it's now valuable for that. So I don't know who intended to do what or not, but it appears that, yeah, what seemed to be a devastating loss is perhaps a win for everyone in this process. But it's a shame that it happened at all. That's all I could say. I would not want to be responsible for destroying a priceless guitar. I play guitar. I love guitars. And that would be such a shame to destroy history like that for a movie, if that indeed did happen that way. Anyway, here he is, and we'll just go side to side. Tremendous unbranded head. So there you go. So here's one last look at John, the Hangman, Ruth, Kurt Russell from the Hateful Eight. I hope you've liked what you've seen. If you have, consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. In the meantime, everyone, please have a great day.